Hey movie lovers, welcome back to my channel, Meg's Movies, and today it is Movie Monday, and as you can tell from the t-shirt I am currently wearing, it is my Infinity Saga ranking. We are finally here, we're finally doing it. The reason why it's taken me so long to do this is because I have actually been watching these movies in chronological order since last month. I've been watching one movie a day, and I'm so glad I finally got to do it. It's something I've always wanted to do, and the recommendation for this ranking video gave me the opportunity to do it, along with the lockdown, of course. So before I get into this list, this is my own personal list, this is my own opinions, no one else's, and I just really hope you enjoy my list. I know I do. I actually don't hate any of these movies. I do like all of these movies, it's just some of them are not the best compared to the top of my list. So let's just get straight into my list. Okay, so at number 23 we have The Incredible Hulk. I had not seen this movie until I'd watched all these films in order. I was a bit, I was like, do I really have to watch this? Because I heard a lot of bad things about this movie. And yeah, not gonna lie, I was not a huge fan. I definitely do prefer Mark Ruffalo more than I do Edward Norton, which I believe is his name. I think it is Edward Norton, isn't it? Yeah, it is Edward Norton. I hope. If I'm wrong, I'll put the right name there. But yeah, so the gist of this movie is basically Edward Norton's character's had the gamma radiation attack on him, and we're now seeing how he's controlling his powers, so like how he's controlling the Hulk that's inside him. It was okay. I didn't hate it. It's one of those movies I would watch maybe far in the future, maybe when I decide to watch them all again. I did like the fight with Abomination. Abomination was actually quite a good fight with the Hulk. But overall, yeah, it's one of those ones I will watch in the far future. Okay, and number 22 we have Doctor Strange. Please don't kill me for that. To be honest, I actually did enjoy the effects in this movie. It's one of the parts of the movie I actually really enjoyed the most was the effects, especially when they were shape-shifting the buildings and the whole swishy things with their hands. I did like the whole things and the whips and everything they came out with their hands. And I actually like Doctor Strange as a character. He's actually a pretty good character. I do think I preferred him more in Infinity War and Endgame more than I did in his own film. Maybe I might change my mind in the future, but for now that is my opinion. The gist of this movie is basically Dr. Stephen Strange is a surgeon. He then ends up in an accident and then he ends up losing movement in his hands, which I like his magic hands because he's such a good surgeon. And then he goes to find a way to get himself better. I don't spoil movies, so obviously each movie that I'm ranking right now I will give a very small synopsis of. Okay, and at number 21 it is Captain Marvel. This is one of the very few ones that I actually got to see in the cinema. I'm glad I got to see it in the cinema. It's set in the 90s. I was born in the 90s, so it made me feel so nostalgic. So the gist of this movie, Captain Marvel ends up crash landing on Earth, and she ends up learning more about herself throughout the film. And of course we get to see Nick Fury before he got his eye patch. I won't say any more than that. I did like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. She's definitely a good character. I think I preferred her solo movie more than I did in Endgame, for the simple fact of, for me, I think she was hyped up way too much for Endgame. So I think that's why I wasn't like happy with when she came. Like, I was really happy when she came in and did what she did, but I think they hyped her up too much to be like the main part of the film when you barely see her, but you know, that's my own personal opinion. But yeah, so overall Captain Marvel was actually a pretty good film. Brie Larson, good actress, and I absolutely love Goose the cat. Not gonna lie, Goose the cat is so adorable, so cute, and then at one point very hilarious and very shocking. Okay, at number 20 we have For the Dark World. This is one of two of the sequels from the main Avengers sets, the main trilogies, that I actually really didn't enjoy all that much, unfortunately, which is quite disappointing. So Thor the Dark World is basically Thor has come back down to Earth because Jane has managed to get herself ill by absorbing one of the Infinity Stones. It's the Ether Stone, the Red Stone. And yeah, so for me, it was okay. Plotline was okay. I'd still like Thor. But for me, I think out of all the sequels from the main Avengers, this one was not the best. I think I'm glad they changed the atmosphere when they did Thor Ragnarok. I will say one of the things I do like about this movie is when Loki is pretending to be Captain America because he's phasing into different people and he's like, ooh, the power. So yeah, I did enjoy that scene, but so overall my thoughts, it was an okay sequel, just not as good as I was hoping. Okay, at number 19 we have the Ant-Man and the Wasp. I actually didn't mind this movie, it weren't too bad. I do like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, he's perfect for Ant-Man in fact. So the gist of this one is basically after the effects of Captain America Civil War, he's under house arrest unfortunately, Ant-Man. So, but then of course, being an Avengers movie, a lot of hijinks happen. So like I said, I didn't mind this movie, it weren't too bad. I did like the effects, I like the whole making things big, making things small. I loved Evangelina Lilly. I'm bad at pronouncing names, I'm going to apologise. But yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer came into this movie as well. I absolutely loved her character in this, even though we only got to saw her briefly. So hopefully in another Ant-Man film, she'll get a bit more of a character arc, hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, and at number 18 we have Iron Man 3. This is the other sequel that I mentioned that I'm not a huge fan of, but the reason for this one is because of the Mandarin, the villain in this movie. I was not a huge fan of him. So, plotline is basically the Mandarin is threatening the world and then Tony Stark decides to threaten him and that's when it all goes tits up for him. But I like the rest of the movie, I like the suits, I like seeing all the suits, and I like the fact with each Iron Man that we see, his suit ups get even more cooler. But for me, the thing that let me down the most is the Mandarin. If it weren't for the Mandarin, I think the film would have been higher up on my list. Okay, at number 17 we have Ant-Man. So, obviously, not gonna lie, when I first watched Ant-Man I was like, do I like it, do I not like it? Didn't mind it, wasn't too bad, but I think for me, I still definitely prefer the main Avengers. I know I keep repeating myself, but I mean, not gonna lie, Paul Rudd is a good character. I mean, there was one scene where he shrunk down and scared his friend, which was quite hilarious, and I will watch it again. It's not one of those ones that I'm like, I'm watching the far future, but who knows, maybe in the future he might go higher up when there's more Marvel movies for me to rank. But for now, he is at this point. Okay, and at number 16 is Spider-Man Far From Home. So this is the sequel set after Endgame. I will not say anything about this movie because there's a major spoiler in it that's happened to Endgame. And if you haven't watched Endgame, I ain't gonna spoil it for ya. So, spoiler free. I actually didn't mind this movie, it was a very good movie. Yet again, for me, it was the villain that let this go down further on the list. Okay, and at number 15 we have one of the Avengers films, and that is Avengers Age of Ultron. This is one of the ones that I would not put higher up. For the simple fact of, I think for me, I always liked the first film, Avengers, and then obviously they upped the ante with Infinity War and Endgame. I did like Avengers Age of Ultron, not gonna lie. So the plotline of this is basically Tony Stark wants to shield the world. He wants to put a suit of armour around the world, is exactly what he says. And that's when Ultron is made, by accident. I'm not gonna lie, I actually liked Ultron. I liked his sassiness, I liked the way he was. We also got to see Vision in this movie for the first time. I love Vision, he's a good character. But yeah, for me, I think out of all the Avengers movies, this one is down the list because it wasn't, I felt like it wasn't as good as the first or the third and fourth. But still enjoyed it, and I will watch it again just because of Ultron. I absolutely love Ultron. Okay, so at number 14 we have Thor Ragnarok. I actually quite enjoyed this film. I think the reason why I enjoy it so much is because of the plotline. So the plotline is basically Thor and Loki have a sister called Helena, something like that. The goddess of death, as she calls herself. She's released from her slumber, and I'm not going to say how or why. And then as we go on through the film, we get to see the Hulk. The Hulk is in this movie, and he gets more lines in this movie, which is very weird. I'm so used to hearing the Hulk just go, "Oh, smash!" But to hear him have more lines, it was actually quite nice. But yeah, for me, Thor Ragnarok was hilarious. I did enjoy this movie. I just loved it. And Valkyrie, she's a good character as well. And Korg, oh my god, I absolutely love Korg. Korg is like one of my favourites. I absolutely love Korg. He's just so funny, he's so adorable, and yeah, and the effects in this, oh my god, were amazing. Especially when Thor comes down with his lightning and you hear that music. Oh my god, I am obsessed with that scene. But as you can tell, one of my favourites. So yeah, Thor Ragnarok, definitely give it a watch. Okay, and at number 13 we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I absolutely love the Guardians. They are the funnier side of the Avengers, if you get what I mean, set in space. So in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Chris Pratt's Star-Lord finally gets to find out who his dad is, and I won't say any more than that. I absolutely love this movie, especially Mantis. We get to introduce Mantis, who when she touches you, she feels what you feel, which is quite funny, to be honest. I mean, some of it's quite sad, like when she feels someone sad, but when she just has her funny moments, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, and of course we get Baby Groot. Oh my god, I am obsessed with Baby Groot. I love Tiny Groot. He is so adorable, especially at the beginning of the movie when he's doing his dancing, and oh my god. Baby Groot, I am always going to love forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, and at number 12 we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. This is the sequel that I actually like out of the main Avengers movies. Yeah, so basically the Winter Soldier is kind of like an assassin who's trying to slow down Captain America pretty much. I'm not going to say who it is or anything like that, because obviously if you haven't watched the Avengers movies and you want to, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Sorry, I don't do spoilers. But yeah, so I actually pretty much enjoyed this movie. I loved Winter Soldier, such a good character. Especially when he fights Captain America, or especially when Captain America throws the Frisbee and he catches it. Oh my god. But I keep saying, oh my god. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. Gotta stop. But yeah, it weren't too bad, I must admit. It's one of the sequels where I think the Captain America trilogy is one of the ones where I actually liked all the sequels. And yeah, hence why it's quite high up on my list. Okay, and at number 11 we have Thor, the first movie. I love the fact we got introduced to Thor. I absolutely love Thor. Basically in this movie, Thor is banished from Asgard and he's basically down on Earth and he's trying to get his hammer back, basically. It's quite funny to see Thor at the very beginning when he's trying to understand Earth customs, which is quite funny, especially when he picks up the mug and smashes it on the floor and he's like, I want more coffee, or something along those lines. I haven't watched Thor since like way like a month ago. But yeah, it's quite a good movie. It's quite nice to see him in that way. Also, we got introduced to Tom Hiddleston as Loki as well. I absolutely love Loki. Jane, I can love and leave her. Like, I like her, but then I don't like her. I mean, if I had to choose, I think I prefer Pepper Potts and Peggy Carter more than I do Jane. Don't know why, but that's just the way I feel. Okay, so we've made it to our top 10. So this is my top 10 absolute favourites of the Marvel movies. And to kick off, at number 10, we have Iron Man 2. I absolutely love Iron Man 2. It's such a good film. Basically, in this one, Tony Stark comes up against someone that actually knows about his technology, and this guy, I can't remember his name. I'll put the character's name down below when I find out. I'm sorry, I'm very bad at remembering character names. But yeah, Basically, the gist of this is Tony Stark is actually ill as well in this movie. He's getting sick from the chest implant he's got that he had in the first movie, and basically he's just coping with that and coping with being Iron Man. I love this movie, especially with War Machine. We get introduced to War Machine, and it's just the fight scene at the end with War Machine and Tony Stark working as a team. Love that scene. That's like my absolute favourite scene. And yeah, one of the sequels I actually really enjoyed from Iron Man. Okay, and at number 9 we have the first Avengers movie, Avengers Assemble. So basically there's an alien race coming down to attack Earth, and that's when we assemble the Avengers. Hence the title. I absolutely love this first movie. I think this was actually the first Avengers movie was it? Yeah. It was the first Avengers movie I had actually watched before watching anything else. Is that bad? Nah, it's not bad, is it? But the Avengers movie was actually really good. I do enjoy it. I love, my favourite part, honestly, my favourite part is when they do that camera spin round and you see all the characters together, and oh my god, I fangirled at that point. Like, especially when I rewatched it, I was like, oh my god, love it. It's such a good film, the fight as well. Obviously, Loki as the villain in this movie is hilarious. I especially like it when Hulk picks up Loki and just flips him from side to side. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Okay, and at number 8 we have SpiderMan Homecoming. So this is the first Spider-Man movie, and I think Tom Holland's doing a great job as Spider-Man. So in this film, this is when he is getting his apprenticeship with Tony Stark. This is obviously set after Civil War as well. And yeah, well, apprenticeship I say. This is when he's getting his Spider-Man suit. And yeah, I must admit I really enjoyed this film. I loved Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Definitely a good character villain there. And I like the fact they gave the villain a family, sort of. Like they gave him a daughter and a wife. So that was quite nice to see a villain have that kind of human side to it. But yeah, it was actually quite nice to see a younger kind of Spider-Man. Because also we used to have like adult kind of versions of Spider-Man. But with Tom Holland being as young as he is, it's quite nice to see that aspect. And of course Zendaya as MJ is hilarious. I absolutely love MJ. And yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming was actually pretty good. Okay, and at number 7 we have Black Panther. Now I absolutely love this movie. So unique, so different, and I love the Black Panther suit. The fact that if anything hits it, it then powers him up. I would love a suit like that. If I could have a suit like that, that'd be great. I would like one made. So yeah, basically this is set after the events of Civil War as well. He's basically taken on the role as king, and I won't say any more than that because, like I said, spoiler free. Okay, so sorry if the camera angle has changed or the zoom has changed. It's just I had to go and have some lunch. I am now stuffed. So yeah, we're at number 6 now, which is Captain America Civil War. I absolutely love this film. Obviously I do not like the fact that the Avengers split into 2 teams and had a fight, but I will say the fight was epic beyond all proportions. So basically in this one, thanks to the events of Avengers Age of Ultron, there is now new rules for the Avengers, and one half are for the rules and one half are against them, hence the Avengers splitting up. So basically I absolutely really loved this movie. It was such a good Captain America movie. I loved the airport fight scene, it was so good. I mean, you had Spider-Man be introduced as well for the first time in this movie. Loved Spider-Man in this part, it is so funny. And the fight between Captain America and Iron Man near the end was such a good fight to watch, I am not gonna lie. Do hate that 2 of my favourites were fighting against each other, but at the end of the day, that was the plot line, so. But overall it was such a good movie, and it was so good. Like the fight, like for me the fight scenes were amazing, and then the seriousness of the rules as well. Actually, the fact that they gave the Avengers rules set out to help like not destroy so much stuff. I think that's quite nice to see that in a superhero movie where they're told that they have to be more careful. But yeah, Captain America Civil War is definitely gonna forever be in my top 10. Okay, we're now into the final 5, the top 5 movies that I absolutely love. And at number 5 it is Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. This is obviously when we first meet the Guardians, and oh my god, it's so funny. Star-Lord is so funny, played by Chris Pratt. Zoe Zandala as Gamora, she was really good. Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper playing Rocket and Groot. Oh my god, I love Rocket and Groot. Like, they're my favourite two, like, side characters. I absolutely love them. Rocket's sassiness, the cute way of Groot, and of course that's when we first hear "I am Groot." I absolutely love that saying. And yeah, it was such a good way to start off the Guardians as well. So basically in this one they are after the purple Infinity Stone. I can't remember what it's called, but obviously hijinks ensues and then everyone's after it, and Ronan, the bad guy's after it as well. But yeah, I won't say any more than that. But this film was so good. I absolutely love the Guardians. Yeah, what more can I say? I absolutely love the Guardians. Oh, and the dance battle diversion at the end. So funny. So funny. Chris Pratt honestly is such a funny and good actor, and his character as Star-Lord is amazing. And there was one part that made me cry with Groot, and whenever I watch it I still cry. Okay, and at number 4 we have the very first Captain America, the First Avenger. I absolutely love this movie. It was such a good way to introduce Captain America, especially since he had to come in after Iron Man if you were to go in release order. But yeah, so this is set in the 1940s, so that is the reason why he is technically the first ever Avenger. And we get to see this very small, mini Steve Rogers become the muscly man that he is, and we get to see Captain America become who he is. Tommy Lee Jones is in this as well. He was such a good character as well. I enjoyed his character. And of course we got to meet Peggy Carter, who is one of my favourite female characters in this saga. And yeah, I love the romance between Peggy and Steve. It is so adorable and so cute. And Red Skull was such a good villain. I think for me, for the first set of movies in each trilogy, so Iron Man, Thor and Captain America, I had to think, the first villains have always been the best. I absolutely love them. And yeah, definitely worth the watch. Definitely do give it a watch if you love superhero movies, and of course if you like Marvel in general. Okay, and to bring it into our top 3 we have Avengers Infinity War. Now when I went to go see this in a cinema, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I absolutely loved this movie from beginning to end. I loved it when they brought all the characters together slowly but surely. Like, for me, I was worried that they were going to bundle them in all at once, but it was nice to see, like, the Guardians finally meet Thor. It was nice to see Doctor Strange meet Iron Man, and it was nice to see the storylines separate from each other but then come together at the end. Loved that bit. And yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Can't go wrong with this movie. Of course it did lead to Endgame. But I think for me, the absolute best performance was from Tom Holland at the end. I honestly cried so much, and I still cry when I watch the scene. I won't say anything of it. But, so, I didn't say the gist of the film. The gist of the film is basically Thanos is finally coming down off his chair, his royal chair, to finally collect all of the stones to then, obviously, wipe up half humanity. And, of course, to click his fingers and be like, bam, you're gone, bam, you're gone. And, yeah, honestly, such a good way to start the two-parter. And I will always forever love Infinity War. Okay, and at number 2 we have the first Iron Man. Of course he was going to be second on my list because Iron Man is my absolute favourite. And yeah, so obviously Tony Stark is kidnapped at the beginning of the film, and that's when he makes sort of like a rough Iron Man suit. and that's when he gets the idea to make the actual Iron Man suit, and he goes from being helping with the weapons area part of it to then becoming Iron Man himself. And Robert Downey Jr. was such a good pick for Iron Man, for Tony Stark, honestly. And Pepper Potts, I love Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow. It's nice to have a character like her in it as well. Like they bounce off each other, which is great. And yeah, I absolutely love Iron Man. I will always love the first movie, and of course it was the first movie to ever come out from Marvel, so it's all thanks to Iron Man that we have this going on. Okay, and then last but not least, at number 1, my absolute favourite, if you haven't guessed, it is Avengers Endgame. I absolutely loved this movie when it came out. I got to see it in the midnight showing in my town, and oh my god, I'm so glad I got to see it. I was cheering, I was crying, I was clapping. Honestly, I absolutely loved it. And yeah, so basically Avengers Endgame is everything that happened after the first movie. I won't say what happened in the first movie because it will spoil it. And yeah, it was nice to see how the characters developed in the film, and the, oh my god, the fact that you finally get to hear Avengers Assemble. Oh, I fangirled so much at that point, and there was other moments that I fangirled so much as well. And of course the ending made me cry. Even watching it now, I still cry at it. I'm sorry, I am a crier. Not gonna lie, when I watch movies, I cry. But honestly, Avengers Endgame, I don't think anything will ever top it, but you never know. But for now, at number 1 is Avengers Endgame. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this ranking list. It did take me a while to film because I wanted to get it just about right as I can. So like I said before, this is my list, this is my opinion, this is no one else's. And I honestly love Marvel. I'm a massive fan of Marvel. And I honestly cannot wait to see what else they come out with. So like I said at the beginning of the video as well, if you do have any film recommendations, any film series recommendations you want me to rank, let me know down below. If you have not watched it, I did my first ever ranking, which is of the Jurassic Park series. I'll put the link down below, and I'll put it at the end of the video as well. And yeah, so any recommendations for movies that you want me to rank, please leave them down below. The next one is my request from a friend, and that is Resident Evil franchise. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!